Hey everybody, it's Dr. C. It is July 31st. Want to give a few updates and highlights of the week and also look ahead to the next couple weeks for us as we head back to school on August 17th. First, we had 110 people at our school board meeting last night as we adopted the blended hybrid structure for our reopening. So what does that look like again? Just real briefly, it's a K-6. Everybody will be back with their kids. The kids are going to really be isolated to one classroom and their teacher. And that's 7 through 12. We're dividing the kids A to K and L through Z. And they'll be in school 2 days a week and virtually 3 days a week as we start this new school year. Also, just want to highlight to everyone that this is really just a start to the school year. The ultimate goal is to get everybody back on our campus and get back to the normal way to do life. But we're going to have to monitor the data on the COVID trend as well as 4 other benchmarks that I'll talk about in a little bit. But we want to get back to school with everyone. Also, last night, we adopted a new calendar for the school year. A couple highlights in that calendar. One is we are doing away with Wednesday early release, late arrival. It is with chagrin that I announced this because it is a big part of our PLC and collaboration as a guiding principle. But when I looked at that and the days that we lost of instructing kids from March 13th to May 13th, I really felt like it was best to add that hour back into the day so we could capture back at least 36 hours. And we'll continue to look at that as we move through the year. Also, fall break, we are going to take 3 days of fall break and have e-learning days. It'll be similar to what a snow day would look like. So you'll be providing assignments for students to have a chance to turn them back in after fall break. But this allows both us a chance to get 3 days of the 8 days back and also connect into the first semester so that kids can continue to grow and learn and have that guiding principle of individual student growth reign supreme. On the Wednesday before Thanksgiving will be a 4th e-learning day for this first semester. And so those details will also be included into an e-learning where the kids will not be required to be in class in any fashion, but it will just be more like a snow day again. And then on the 4th of January is a day that we will be back in person to connect back with kids. And we'll continue to add 3 more days then at the end of the school year, and we'll still get out before May is over. So that's a quick highlight of the calendar and what's going on. I want to thank Dr. Worland and the teachers from FCTA as well as parents that contributed and collaborated on that. As we talked about at the board meeting, how are we going to know when we can move to getting everybody back? So I'm going to talk about benchmarking as well as the phases of reopening for us. So first on benchmarking, there are 5 benchmarks that I'm going to look at. The most important, trending data of COVID. So we're going to look at hospital stays, ICU, ventilator needs, also just what's happening in and around the area. As Dr. Mormon said last night, unfortunately, COVID doesn't really stop at the county line and only look at Johnson County. People are so fluid that we move back and forth, and the virus does the same. So we'll look at the data and how the trend lines are moving. There is not one specific data point or trend line that I'm going to look at. It's a combination of all things. We're also going to look at the mask compliance. We need people to wear masks all the time. That's K to 12. We realize there's going to be a chance to go outside and take your mask off. We're looking at possibly purchasing tents to open up so you guys can have shelter as you do go outside, to have those open classrooms and different things. We're also looking at COVID rule compliance, making sure you self-monitor for symptoms. Same thing for kids. Do we have enough substitute teachers so that we don't have to merge classes together, because we're really not going to have that capability this year. Also, a 4th one is going to be cleaning. Can we clean? We're going to monitor through a checklist the cleaning practices and procedures in the buildings. And the last one is indoor air quality, making sure that our fresh air is meeting and exceeding the Indiana air requirements. And so we're going to monitor all 5 of those to help us determine how to move through the phases. And so what are the phases? Well, there are 5 of them. First one is virtual. We're skipping that one to begin phase 2. Phase 2 is our blended hybrid model. Phase 3 would have one day where all the kids come back, grades 7 to 12. So we would do our blended A to K, L to Z for 4 days a week, and one day all kids back. The 4th phase would be 4 days of all the kids back and one virtual day. And phase 5 would have everybody coming back. We will give notice of the movement of the calendar and the phases. We're going to look at 20-day segments to help us decide and move through the phases. And so we'll get those calendars out to everybody and let them know in plenty of time when things happen. We're also going to reserve the right, or I'm going to reserve the right to move and skip between phases. So we're at phase 2 right now, but if things go really well and the COVID really goes down, maybe we skip to phase 4. Also, we could tumble backwards in phases. And so we'll just have to monitor everything as we can try to get to the end when the vaccine arrives and we can just get back to a normal way to do life and school. So those are the 5 phases, and we're going to have 20-day segments, as I said, and I'm going to have 10-day notices for both teacher, students, and parents when we move to give ample conversation and opportunity to monitor and look to see how things are going. Also want to talk just about the role of mitigation and trying to make sure we stay on top of communication if COVID and when COVID comes into our buildings. You know, all along we've said we cannot stop the virus from coming in. We can mitigate and provide the safest environment possible, and that's what we're doing. But when the virus comes in and someone tests positive, what will be our response? Well, first, when someone tests positive, Amanda Martin is the person. It's going to be our go-to to contact the health department. She's going to be the lead point person for us. So if a student tests positive and we hear about it from either the local health department or that family, Amanda will be the person that reaches out to the health department and works with Dr. Mormon and Betsy Swearingen to determine what our next steps are. Our response is really just to remain calm. We're not going to panic. We're not going to send everybody home immediately. We're going to wait and really work together in concert with the local health department. Also, I want to just say at this time, it's never going to be our job to tell someone to go get tested for COVID. That's going to be the role of the primary physician, both student and faculty staff member. We won't be saying go get tested. What we're going to say is please monitor your symptoms. And if you have one or more symptoms that could maybe lead you to the thought, I have COVID or possibly COVID, please contact your physician and work with them. Students, same thing. We want everyone to really take that first step in self-monitoring. We want everyone to also to remain calm. You know, and if an adult gets it, when that contact tracing comes down, it'll actually come from the state unless that person tells us directly. We will go through the steps to see who has been inside that 6-foot bubble for more than 15 minutes and determine if we need to isolate for those 14 days. All those things are going to be put into place. We're also going to put them in writing. Next week, we're going to release Franklin Community Schools Reopening Manual, and it's going to be on our website. We're going to give it to parents and students and faculty so you can work through and you can see what it means to reopen, see the phases, the calendar, what's the schedule look like, expectations, also in terms of academics as well as social emotional learning. That's going to be a big part of what we're doing this school year, and that's that communication piece. So we're going to make sure that's included and make sure that we're ready to go. If a faculty or staff member has a question about COVID or they believe that they need to take time off and use the FMLA system or any questions around COVID, please contact Michelle Bright. She's the person that's taking care of all of that for us. So she can answer questions about what you need to do to apply in those 10 days that if you get COVID, what do you do with regards to the new federal law? All those things go to Michelle Bright. So just to reiterate, if the test positive comes, it's Amanda Martin. If it's a question about sick time or you need to be off, it's Michelle Bright. But all in all, we're going to remain calm through this, really work together to share information, be clear and concise, and be transparent. Now, HIPAA is also going to come into play here, and that's that Privacy Act that says we can't share information. But you as an adult and your own personal, you can share whatever you want. Same with families. We can also have a waiver put in place. But all that's going to be predicated on what you want and what the parents want. So with that, if you have questions about COVID, please contact Amanda or Michelle, and we'll work together on that. And lastly, just wanted to say thank you. I know a lot's changed in the month of July. So when we first released on June 29th our reopening plan, we thought we're going back to school. We were really excited. The COVID numbers were not trending high. And then July came and the trending data shot up, and things started to shift. The governor didn't move us to level 5. We stayed at 4.5. That had a lot of parameters in there. So we reevaluated. We created that hybrid model. Now, the hybrid model we created is one that many schools are doing. It wasn't a Franklin Schools creation. The very first time I read about it was actually a school out in Seattle where the epicenter started. Also, as we traveled forward, you're seeing a lot of schools in Indiana use this same model. We want to be in school, and that's what we're striving to do. And it was the best model for us. And so with that, I just want to say, if you have any questions about the model, the phases, COVID, the calendar, please reach out. I'll look forward to sharing more information as we head into August. Speaking of heading into August, please circle August the 12th. That is the first teacher day back. You will be in the buildings. You'll need your mask. We will not have a big orchestrated back to school event. We are going to have a drive-through event where you're going to get a goodie bag and you're going to get some Chick-fil-A. And it's either going to be on the 12th or the 14th. We'll get the specific date to you next week. So we'll see you soon. I hope you have a great Friday on July 31st. And thank you for getting ready to teach kids. I know everybody's excited to get back and get going.